is the Rob Carson Show.
I don't want to brag, but, they've said this about a lot of things. No other president could do some of the I'm doing. No other president. The things I'm doing, nobody else was going to do it.
Nope.
They say it all the time. Sir, could you do this? You're the only one can do it.
Yeah, he is. Welcome to Tuesday.
I always accentuate the positive. Eliminate the negative.
Like the Ayatollah.
Latch on to the affirmative. With me, there is no in-between.
Great looking economy.
State of the Union scored. Approval rate, how it has soared. Democrats cannot afford to take me for granted anymore. Inflation's low, employment's high. The Dow Jones, it is headed for the sky. Borders secure, illegals aren't jetting in. That's why I accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative. Latch on to the affirmative. With me, there is no in-between.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is Jim Gossett. What a way to start a Tuesday. Hello, welcome to the show. Please come inside. We are back streaming on all of NEWSMAX social media and also on radio stations around the country. CNN, they were ready. They were ready to say, that this, war, conflict, or whatever you want to call it, in Iran is going to drive oil prices through the ceiling, and they did for about a day,
actually. A little bit of positive movement in the markets after the president told CBS that the war is pretty much complete. What's the latest?
Yeah, oil prices hitting their lowest level of the day after crashing through that $100 a barrel benchmark overnight, even reaching up to $115, $120 a barrel. Those are numbers that we haven't seen for nearly 4 years since the war between Russia and Ukraine broke out.
Yeah.
But even though
and since Joe Biden was the president,
levels have come down to about $85, $90.
Yeah, the oil prices dropped $40 overnight, much to the chagrin of CNN, because Donald Trump basically said, go ahead and bring your tankers through the Straits of Hormuz. We'll bomb the snot out of anything that Iran tries to do. We've sunk 51 of their of their ships. I heard somebody echoing the sentiment I made the other day. They are making marvelous. If you're a scuba diver, once the oil slick kind of leaves and whatnot, it's going to be a hell of a place to go scuba diving around those ships down there and all that. And then I suggested that somebody make little Iranian ships that you can put in your aquarium. I think that'd be kind of cool. Wouldn't that be cool if you're going to have an aquarium, maybe one of those saltwater aquariums or whatever, instead of that little treasure chest that opens up with the bubbles and whatnot, and whatever. You could have the Iranian fleet in the bottom of your aquarium. I think it'd be fantastic. I think it would be absolutely fantastic. Here's the President of the United States talking about our success thus far in Iran. Not over yet.
Mr. President, you've said the war is, quote, very complete, but your defense secretary says this is just the beginning. So which is it, and how long should
It's the beginning of the butt kicking. I mean, we're just going to put it into, I guess today, really putting the pedal to the metal.
Well, I think you could say it both. It's the beginning of building a new country.
Killed.
But they have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no anti-aircraft equipment. It's all been blown up. They have no radar.
Yeah.
They have no telecommunications.
That is that.
And they have no leadership.
Uh-oh.
It's all gone.
Yeah.
So, you could look at that statement. We could call it a tremendous success right now as we leave here. I could call it. Yeah. Or we could go further, and we're going to go further. But the big risk on that war has been over for 3 days.
Yeah, we've been bombing the snot out of them. I mean, honestly, and you listen to Raisin King. Listen to Raisin King here. Now, of course, obviously, the Iranians have managed to land a few missiles, of course, but that don't compare to what we've landed on them.
Since our last update, CENTCOM continues to make progress across the southern flank.
Yep.
To date, they've struck more than 5,000.
Wow, 5,000! Holy hell!
Targets.
We've struck 5,000 targets. They've struck fewer than 100.
Strategic Command bombers recently dropped dozens of 2,000-pound GPS penetrating.
When I was a kid, if you were losing by that much, you'd get the 10-run rule and then walk off the field.
Trading weapons on deeply buried missile launchers across the southern flank.
Yeah.
We also have
It blew the snot out of their southern flank.
struck several one-way drone factories to get at the heart of their autonomous
Nothing worse than a missile jammed up your southern flank.
capability. And of course, alongside our regional partners along the southern flank, continue
There
to
go that flank again.
execute intercepts
What the flank?
against one-way attack drones using fighters and attack helicopters. Our strikes mean we've made significant progress in reducing the number of missile and drone attacks out of Iran. Ballistic missile attacks continue to trend downward, 90% from where they've started.
They can't get their missile up anymore.
And one-way attack drone have decreased 83% since the beginning of the operation.
That's kind of
a testament to our air defenders and our air defense systems. And as I said, our partners in the region continue to do great work as well.
As we pound the southern flank, there we go. It's kind of like, remember the Harlem Globetrotters? I grew up, Gen Xer. Harlem Globetrotters, that team they used to play. Wasn't it the Washington Capitals or something? No, it wasn't the Washington Capitals. The Washington Generals. I think it was the Washington Generals. Not the Capitals. The Capitals are a hockey team. But Donald Trump's out here, doing the ball between the legs and all of this, and the generals are like, what the hell? No idea. B-1B and B-52 bombers land in UK for massive surge in Iran airstrikes. That's what Hegseth was talking about. B-1B, B-52 bombers arrive at RAF Fairford as the U.S. prepares for sustained high-intensity bombing campaign against Iranian missile sites and infrastructures. Analysts warn of a dramatic surge in Operation Epic Fury. Already wrecked them completely, but I guess we're going to pound them into powder. Deployment of heavy bombers to the United Kingdom's RAF Fairford indicates that the U.S. and its allies moving from initial decapitation strikes to a sustained high-intensity bombardment of Iranian military and industrial infrastructure. U.S. Air Force can launch bomber pulses. That sounds pretty badass, doesn't it? Frequent repetitive waves of heavy strikes with much shorter turnaround times. B-52 can carry 70,000 pounds of munitions, roughly 30 massive 900-kilogram DAM bombs. They call them DAM bombs, D-A-M bombs. More than quadruple the capacity of an F-15, allowing for the saturation of large targets like air bases, missile factories, underground complexes, and, of course, the latest guy to get named the Ayatollah, who probably won't be around the planet much longer because his daddy went in the first, 5 hours of the strike, and the rest of his family's kind of toast. Not going to be much of I don't do Thanksgiving over there, or a Ramadan dinner or whatever they do. Not going to be a whole lot of people sitting around the table this year at Ramadan or Ramalama Ding Dong or whatever they celebrate over there. More from the president.
They have not seen before. So we're winning very decisively. We're way ahead of schedule. Our military is the greatest in the world, with the greatest equipment and the greatest people in the world. Nobody's ever seen anything.
You haven't heard a Democrat say that, have you? Have you heard a single Democrat say anything good about our military? Have you heard a single Democrat talk about the freedom of the Persian people and the celebrations that are happening around the world? No, not one thing.
Like it. Iran's a very powerful country. They were going to take over the Middle East. If we did not hit them, they were going to take over the Middle East. They had thousands and thousands. Since their last hit, they had thousands and thousands of missiles and everything else. Most are now destroyed.
Yeah, not too many of those left. Here's something Donald Trump talking about the Iranian Navy, because he thought that, hey, man, why don't we just keep those ships? We'll just take those ships. And his commander said, nah.
In fact, I got a little upset with our people. I said, what quality of ship? Excellent, sir. Top of the line. I said, why did we just capture the ship? We could have used it. Why did we sink them? They said, it's more fun to sink them. I said, that's They like sinking them better. They say it's safer to sink them.
And it is driving the left insane that they're caterwauling. They're predicting doom and gloom and boots on the ground and a long-term war and all of this. All of it is falling by the wayside, and they're just going nuts. And then Donald Trump gave them a little bit more fish food to make them go even more nuts. He called the strike on Iran a little incursion. Excursion is what it was.
A little excursion because we felt we had to do that to get rid of some evil. And I think you'll see it's going to be a short-term excursion. How good is our military? Right?
Oh!
Amazing.
Yeah, no Democrats applauding there. Let's hear that again. That's what patriotic Americans do.
It's going to be a short-term excursion. How good is our military?
There you
right?
go. Yeah! Woo!
Amazing.
Yeah!
How good? Short-term.
There you go.
Short term.
There you go. And you know why Donald Trump said it's going to take 4 to 6 weeks for this? Because he asked his military leaders, if we decide to commit to this, can we get it done, and how long will it take? And they said, hell yes, sir. If you untie our hands and let us engage the enemy, we'll get it done in 4 to 6 weeks. That's why it happened. Case you wanted to know. All right, we got a lot of stuff on the show today. The Democrat Party let in 20 million people unvetted to our country, and right now Iran is activating sleeper cells in our country. 2 attempted bombers in New York, a mass shooting in Austin, Texas, both related to the Middle East and radical Islam and Iran, among other things. And the Democrat Party acts like they don't even know what sleeper cells are while they continue to defund the DHS. That's how awful the Democrats are. We've got all of that and much more coming up on the Rob Carson Show. Don't go anywhere.
Deported. 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 Get him out. Ready? Are you ready? Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Get the hell out of here. Tehran's leaders are crumbling. They're being taken out. Their headquarters are crumbling as the U.S. shows its clout. And that should tell them time to surrender. Call it a day before our troops blow you away. Throw in the towel while you still can, or you'll be down to your last man. more new missiles they were making, with more nukes deployed. Down the sights they have been taken, and we are overjoyed. They ought to know it's time to surrender. White flag should wave. Soon will be nothing left to say.
WCBM.
Fasten your seatbelt, Deep State. It's gonna be a bumpy ride. It's the Rob Carson Show.
Sure as hell is bumpy if you're an Ayatollah.
I felt, based on the negotiations that were being had by Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and Marco and Pete and everybody was involved, I felt that they were looking to tap us along before they hit, and I thought they were going to hit. And if they hit us first, that would have been a very bad thing.
Absolutely. And by the way, they've been waging war against us in the civilized world for 47 years. So there's that. I think it's so pathetic that the Democrat Party cannot be happy because it happened on Trump's watch. You see, here's the difference between Trump and, Ronald Reagan and George W. Bush and George H.W. Bush and Obama and Biden and Clinton. Donald Trump is doing what he said he's going to do. And Donald Trump went into this saying that we are going to be done with it. We're going to get it done. We're going to untie the hands that have been tied. Barack Obama and Joe Biden gave Iran billions of dollars, essentially performing acts of gratification on the Ayatollah for decades. And guess what? Donald Trump came in and said, we're not going to do it that way. Don't you understand by now? This president is different than any president previously. Let me give you a couple examples. We were getting screwed over, bent over, the world having their way with us. No dinner, no wine, just having their way with us on tariffs. And Donald Trump said, you know what? Kind of sick and dang tired of all this nonsense. We're going to go ahead and even the playing field there. And then we're going to close the border. Joe Biden said it could not be done. There's no way now how. Donald Trump snapped his damn fingers and shut down the border. There's a million ways, myriad ways that Donald Trump created these little, savings accounts for your kids. So eventually, like by the time they're 30, they'll have a couple $100,000 in the bank, for God's sake. Donald Trump also got rid of taxes on Social Security. Donald Trump also got taxes on tips and overtime. Has any president done that? Do you not understand how different this president is? Because if you don't understand it, honestly, sit down and shut up. If you don't understand that this is completely different, that we are seeing a millennial change in the world, particularly in the Middle East and the Southern Hemisphere and our sphere of influence, and in China and in Russia. If you don't see it, then honestly, shut up, because it's working. It is working. You know, the worst thing you want to hear from Donald Trump, is if you're named the leader, the supreme leader of Iran, and Donald Trump says he's disappointed in the choice.
Target on his back.
You mean the new supreme leader? You mean the son?
How can there be in Iran?
Well, I don't want to say that, but. I was disappointed because
you have to take him out. Does he have a target on his
back? The new Ayatollah just made a poopy.
Back.
You mean the new supreme leader?
He's disappointed. He does not like me. Oh no!
You mean the son?
How can there be in Iran?
Well, I don't want to say that, but I was disappointed because we think it's going to lead to just more of the same problem for the country. So I was disappointed to see.
It's bad enough when your dad says you're disappointed in you. Lord knows I had that happen a few times. But when Donald Trump says, "Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in the choices," it's you just boy, that is like Caesar giving you the thumbs down. You're standing there in front of the lions or the other gladiator. Caesar gives you the thumb down, and you're like, okay. Well, okay then. All right. It's just kind of interesting. Steve Witkoff, he was part of the negotiations. And Iran has such hubris in radical Islam in general. They act like they're well endowed, but they're they're I don't know how to put this, gingerly. Let's just say it's like their entire life they've been soaking from the waist down in ice cold water. So they act like they got more than they do. I'll just put it that way. And so they go into these negotiations with Steve Witkoff, bragging about the size of their arsenal, and not a good idea.
Jared and I opened up with the Iranian negotiators telling us they had the inalienable right to enrich all their nuclear fuel that they possessed. That's how they opened up. We, of course, responded that the president feels we have the inalienable right to stop you dead in your tracks. We discussed with them 10 years of no enrichment whatsoever. And we would pay for the fuel.
Yeah, there you go.
And it was flatly rejected.
Yeah.
And the president sent us in there to have a good faith negotiation. And they rejected that, which told us at that very moment that they had no notion of doing anything other than retaining enrichment for the purpose of weaponizing.
Yeah. That's like a job interview where there's no handshake and the guy saying, "Yeah, we'll call you. We'll call you." Here is Pete Hegseth talking about unconditional surrender. I don't know. I guess the media doesn't know what unconditional surrender means. Would you like me to tell you right now? I'm going to tell you what it means. It means surrender without any conditions. There you go. It means you have to give us 100% surrender. You have no demands whatsoever. So it's 100%. We kicked your rear end, and now you're going to do what we asked to do. There you go. Here's Pete Hegseth talking about they will most assuredly surrender.
It means we set the terms. We'll know when they're not capable of fighting. There'll be a point where they'll have no choice but to do that. Whether they know it or not, they will be combat ineffective.
Yeah.
They will surrender.
Yeah, they will surrender, because they won't be able to do a darn thing. I was talking to Blaine Holt yesterday about why they're hitting these other countries, that aren't involved. It's because they don't have any capability to guide the missiles. They don't have people in charge anymore. They're just lashing out. You got a few kind of remnants, like that last Japanese guy living on the island, 20 years after World War II. That's kind of what's happening with these guys in Iran. They're just kind of, doing whatever they can do. They don't realize that the war is, effectively over, because we've thoroughly kicked their butts. And again, today, if you heard earlier, we just begun to fight, man. We're already sending in the B-1Bs and the B-52s for a sustained bombing campaign, just to kind of, disintegrate them into powder. So there is that. Now, coming up, KT McFarland, she was on Newsmax last night. She's always amazing. We'll try and get her on this week. She is in high demand, talking about what is next. Because right now what we're doing is we're kind of doing the mop-up. We're doing the mop-up. They've got the Swiffer wet jet, but the jet is an F-22 is what it is. So we're doing a little mopping up. And then Wolf Blitzer in CNN says that the people of Iran were celebrating in the streets with the naming of a new Ayatollah. That's CNN, though, because, they're kind of on the side of the wrong side of history on everything. Hence their terrible ratings and their fade into oblivion. All of that is coming up on the Rob Carson Show. Don't go anywhere. Hey, guys, it's Carson. I just got a ghost bed. Yeah, no, pay attention here, because I've been sleeping on a foam mattress since I moved to the Washington, D.C. area, which is like sleeping on the sponge in your sink. Ghost Bed doesn't build mattresses like furniture. They build engineered sleep systems. Their beds are serious health equipment. Beds designed for relief and recovery, not looks, not fluff. Your body should be healing while you sleep, not fighting for comfort. I have been sleeping past 7 a.m. on my Ghost Bed. It's unbelievable. If you wake up stiff, you toss and turn, if you sleep hot, even reaching for a pain reliever before bed, hoping tonight will be different, that's not aging. It's your mattress talking. Another great thing I love about GhostBed, you get 101 nights to try it at home. If you don't like the difference, you can send it back risk-free. GhostBed is offering my audience their lowest prices of the season, plus an extra 10% off. Go to ghostbed.com/Carson. Use promo code Carson. That's ghostbed.com/Carson. Promo code Carson. You are going to love your new GhostBed. Hey guys, it's Carson for Quince. You know, a well-built wardrobe is about pieces that work together and hold up over time. That's what Quince does best. Premium materials, thoughtful design, everyday staples that feel easy to wear, even as the weather shifts. Quince has everyday essentials. I love the quality that lasts, by the way. Organic cotton sweaters, polos for every occasion, lighter jackets that keep you warm in the changing season. The list goes on. Now, Quince works directly with top factories and cuts out the middleman. So you're not paying for brand markup, just quality clothing. Everything is built to hold up to daily wear and still look good season after season. I have a great wool blazer that has the ladies turning their heads, even if they're not looking at me. And then, of course, a cashmere sweater, ridiculously soft, doesn't cost a fortune as well. Refresh your wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/newsmax for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada, too. That's quince.com, QUINCE.com/newsmax. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/newsmax. President Trump has offered asylum to the Iranian women's soccer team because the only people with balls in Iran are the women. And I'm talking figuratively, by the way. The leaders of the Iranian regime, they have to keep women covered because they can't control their twigs and berries, and so they blame women for it. They hate their sexuality. Plus, also, they their wives are the goat. I mean, literally the goat. That one over there grazing. That's the Ayatollah's wife over there. She's the goat. Literally, the goat. The Iranian women who would not sing for the Islamic terrorist regime's song would not stand for the anthem when they were over in Australia, the soccer team, and Australia not helping, so Donald Trump offered them asylum. President Trump has announced he'll take the entire Iranian women's football team, grant them a refuge here in the United States. Currently in Australia, the regime, Iran, wants them dead for standing up. They said, send them back. We will kill them because we are weak and we have small manhood. Australia is making a terrible humanitarian mistake by allowing the Iran national women's soccer team to be forced back to Iran, where they will be killed. That is from President Trump. Don't do it, Mr. Prime Minister. Give asylum. The U.S. will take them if you don't. Thank you for your attention on this matter. When Donald Trump says thank you for your attention on your matter, it's like, I'm disappointed in your choice for Ayatollah. Those are the things that you better pay attention. When he says thanks for your attention for this matter, it means you'd better comply. That's what it means, by the way, in case you wanted to know. He said, I just spoke to Prime Minister Albanese of Australia concerning the Iranian national women's soccer team. He's on it. 5 have already been taken care of. The rest are on their way. There you go. That's good news. I think that is great news. And here is hoping that another generation of women in Iran do not have to live in slavery. Although the Democrat Party is completely fine with it. Have you noticed that? They don't care. They don't care at all. The ramifications of the fall of the Ayatollah and the freedom for the women of Iran who have suffered as second and third class citizens, not wearing the proper head gear and being murdered because of it. You know, do you ever think about that, Democrats? No, you just hate that Donald Trump is making the world a better place. So there you go. I want to go real quick to Mark in Baltimore. Mark is a listener. Mark, what's going on, my friend? What's on your mind today?
Yes, good afternoon, Shalom. And Barbara, I just want to make mention that this past Saturday, March 7th, was my mom's birthday. So, Emma, if you're listening, I hope you had a very meaningful birthday. That was last Saturday. Okay. Now, the other...
Could have just got her a card, actually. But go ahead.
Okay, that's correct. But the other thing is that they don't really care too much about family values. They'll be happy to make you think that's a man, but it is really a woman, and all that. But they're not interested in, being, saving babies. They're very pro-abortion oriented. Yeah. They're very anti-family. They're into this. So they're interested in a certain group of people, but there's a certain set that they like to, if you know what I mean, make a list who they want to see saved or not saved or anything like that.
Yeah.
While we, on the other side, we believe in the dignity of every human being.
There you go.
In the real sense of the word.
Yeah.
We don't try to mutilate. We try to let them engage their naturalness that Hashem has made for them. So this is what I mean. There's a difference between Hashem natural and rigged, if you know what I mean, destroying the natural order. Mm-hmm. And that's why, for instance, they all made the Reverend Jesse Jackson's funeral a political, rally against the war and all that.
They're willing to bastardize anything. Mark, I appreciate your phone call. They're willing to bastardize anything. You know, I mean, Barack Obama didn't say anything about the Reverend Jesse Jackson. He just stood up there and ripped on Donald Trump. You guys, I tell you what, you're just intellectually and morally bankrupt. My God in heaven. KT McFarland was on last night with Rob Schmidt. She's fantastic. I love me some KT McFarland. Talking about the next phase of the Operation Epic Fury.
Yeah, so when President Trump's talking about this, he's just saying we're now mopping up. I mean, they're very, once you get down to the target list and you've gotten rid of, the Air Force, you've gotten rid of the missile launchers, you've gotten rid of the Navy, you've gotten rid of the senior leadership, you're now just going after other secondary and tertiary targets. Yeah. So the military part of it is winding down. Now is the hard part. Who can they identify? And one thing President Trump has said, going all the way back to the Vietnam War, we should not be picking winners and losers here. It's up to the people of the country to have their own regime change. With the caveat, though, that, as he said, it's got to be somebody that we can work with and somebody we approve.
Yes, and again, when it came to the Ayatollah, his son being named, Donald Trump said he was disappointed in the choice, which means he's not going to be alive much longer. That's what that means, in case you wanted to know. You do not want Donald Trump disappointed in. You do not want Donald Trump disappointed in the choice. There you go. Here's some more from KT.
No, you can't leave it here because, here's the thing that history has taught us. President Bush went in, and as President Trump referred to, he got rid of everybody. He got rid of all the political leadership, the military leadership, the government leadership, and then we became an occupying army. That was a mistake. It didn't work. But President Obama, he toppled dictators during the Arab Spring and then walked away, assuming everything would be just fine.
Sure.
President Trump has found this middle way where he can eliminate their war-making capabilities in the case of Iran, and then he can find somebody with an existing regime, and maybe from the opposition leadership that he can.
That's what he's done in Venezuela.
Work with. It would work with us and take our direction. That's what they're looking for now, and maybe it's not going to be the current Ayatollah. Oh, yeah, of course it's going to be possible. Look, there's nothing left to Iran. The Iranians are smart people.
Yes,
and
they
they're
are.
practical people. They invented the game of chess.
And the women are just gorgeous, too, by the way. I heard somebody call Persian women the Latinas of the Middle East.
And they're really good at it. They're looking around to say, okay, we don't have anything left of a military.
I haven't seen any on Match.com.
Let's just quit while we have an economy left. We haven't destroyed all of their oil-making capabilities, their energy capabilities. So I've got to assume that President Trump, who thinks about the downside risk of all. I've been in the Situation Room. He always asks, what could go wrong?
Yes.
What could go right? What could go wrong? What are you not thinking about that could go wrong? I'm assuming that we have a very detailed plan. I've heard from people in the administration. They know exactly how this should be governed, and they are already in contact with and working with people who might be able to step forward.
Donald Trump says, what can go wrong? Barack Obama says, what can I do to make it go wrong? That's what he said. And then Joe Biden said, derpy do. I just made a poopy. That's the difference. That's the difference between Donald Trump and the others. Let's go to Tariq in Ellicott City, Maryland. Tariq, welcome to the Rob Carson Show. Tariq. Yeah, he's playing around because he's waiting on hold. This happens. You get distracted. They'll come back to Tariq. Michelle, go ahead and put him on hold and say, Tariq, what the hell? Rob is trying to talk to you. Don't you know that's the most important thing in the world in your life right now, that Rob Carson is going to talk to you on the radio? Here is Glenn Beck, and this is actually an astute observation, because this is what Glenn does, talking about why Donald Trump is doing all this. And you're thinking it's just about the nukes, it's just about this. No. This is a description of the 4D chess game, and it all revolves around our enemies.
Instead of just having that old tired argument, he just is starting to say he's a warmonger. Can we just look at the pattern here? Panama, what was that about? That was about getting rid of China. Control of the Panama Canal, getting them out of this area in our hemisphere. Venezuela, that's about getting rid of China, Russia, and quite frankly, Iran and Hezbollah out of Venezuela. Greenland, that was about new shipping lanes because of global warming, and also being able to protect ourselves because we don't believe that Europe is going to be strong to fight against Russia. Iran, what is that really about? Russia and China. And oil. Not for us, for them. And collapsing Iran's proxy wars and their supply of drones to Russia, and China supplying them with weapons to be able to get their oil. That's what that's about. And Cuba, getting rid of Russia and China in our hemisphere.
100%. That's what it's all about. All right, let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Dang it.
I did.
All right, here we go. It is a Rob Carson Show. Here is Mike Carter of NEWSMAX. Mike Carter, NEWSMAX, asking the president if he and J.D. Vance are on the same page about action in Iran.
President, are there any points of disagreement between yourself and your vice president when it comes to U.S. action in Iran?
I don't think so, no. No, we get along very well on this. He was, I would say, philosophically a little bit different than me. I think he was maybe less enthusiastic about going, but he was quite enthusiastic. But I felt it was something we had to do. I didn't feel we had a choice. If we didn't do it, they would have done it to us. I felt, based on the negotiations that were being had by Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and Marco and Pete and everybody was involved, I felt that they were looking to tap us along before they hit, and I thought they were going to hit. And if they hit us first, that would have been a very bad thing.
Mr. President, are there...
That is Mike Carter doing a great job for NEWSMAX. Think about this. You got a Secretary of Defense who was involved in a previously Charlie Foxtrot called Afghanistan and in Iraq. They took 20 years with no end in sight, no exit strategy, except for the date of September the 11th, a couple of years ago, when Joe Biden, of course, pulled us out without thinking and left $85 billion in military hardware and set us back to September the 10th, 2001. So you've got people in this administration and also J.D. Vance. They are, and they know the casualties of feckless policy when it comes to military action, particularly in the Middle East. That's really, really valuable. Not like Milley, not like the idiot previous defense secretary. These men, they've seen it. They've seen the mistakes. They felt the shrapnel, either physical or mental, and they've seen what has happened to their generations attempting to perform warfare in a successful manner. So there you go. I want to go now. Tariq in Ellicott City, I guess, is back. Tariq, welcome to the show. What's on your mind, man?
Hi. On my report card when I was a kid, there was a category called plays well with others.
Yes.
Now, there are some fellas, young fellas in New York City, was it on Saturday, where they put some explosive chemical together with some nuts and bolts and screws to murder a bunch of New Yorkers.
Yep.
Well, I marked them down on plays well with others. And the knucklehead mayor, what was it, a year, 2 years ago, he said he supports globalize the Intifada.
Yeah.
This is the Intifada.
Yeah, of course it is. And these are sleeper cells, Tariq. Tariq, these are the sleeper cells we've been warned about. And we already had an attack at a club in Austin, Texas, and Joe Biden and the Democrat Party opened our southern border. You recall, you've been listening a long time, I said they were stuffing a Trojan horse with our nation's enemies. Well, congratulations. They're here. They're here. And so we've got to be vigilant. The Democrat Party, to show you how just awful they are, they won't even refund the DHS, knowing that the clear and present danger is here and has already acted twice, Tariq.
Yeah, so they're clearly mental defectives also. That's a suicide wish to remove law enforcement in a circumstance where you need law enforcement.
Yes. Well, it's not their it's not the leadership's suicide. It's not the Democrat Party's perfectly fine with casualties. That's why they love those two white morons in Minneapolis throwing themselves in the way of the ICE and getting shot as ICE was defending itself.
By cop.
They loved it. They loved it, but the Democrat Party wanted that. And the Democrat Party, they will allow casualties, and they will do everything they can to blame Republicans. This is all on them.
Casualties are their ammunition.
Yeah,
that's why they need it.
That's a brilliant thought. That's a brilliant thought.
Yeah. So the other thing is they're trying to take us over and destroy our way of life. I want to know the parents of these two attempted murderers in New York City. What did they think when they were 16 and 17 when they went to Turkey?
Yeah.
With two teenage boys flying to Turkey unaccompanied?
Yeah, I think it's time it's time we started investigating people. Remember when Donald Trump said in his first administration, we've got to stop immigration from these Islamist countries, and he was called as an Islamophobe. Remember that? Remember all the caterwauling that he was suddenly an Islamophobe? But he was freaking right. He was right. And look what we've got. And we're going to have to do some deep dives and investigations of people and denaturalization of them if they're not here to assimilate and make peace and live by our Constitution other than Sharia law. If you can't handle that, get your ass back where you came from. That's just the way it's got to be, Tariq. That's just the way it's got to be.
Absolutely. And just follow the thinking of these people. Some people were behaving in a way that insulted their religion.
Yeah.
Okay, a demonstration against Islam.
Yeah.
So, therefore, they get upset. Now, they have the right to murder uninvolved people?
No, they don't, of course.
How does that work?
That doesn't work.
I understand getting married at the, getting angry at the provocateur, but just to murder people on the street?
It's a death cult. It is not a religion. It is a political movement. I appreciate your phone call. wall for allowing wholesale people to come in from around the world, regardless of screening for terrorism, criminal activity, sanity, disease, any of that. Just flew them anywhere. They even let them fly on commercial airliners without ID. That's how freaked up the Democrat Party is. And now here in 2026, we have sleeper cells in our country, and Democrats don't even know what the hell they are. Richard Blumenthal, Dick Blumenthal, he was asked by somebody, I think it was from Lindell TV, about sleeper cells. Everybody knows what a sleeper cell is, right? You know, no, it's not Democrats during the State of the Union. No. It's, terrorist sleeper cells waiting for the command to blow stuff up. But here is this jackweed a week ago claiming to not know what a sleeper cell is. He knows darn well what a sleeper cell is. He knows what they are capable of doing.
In light of potential sleeper cells now here in the U.S. and the necessity to ensure the safety of American citizens, can you just explain how continuing to keep DHS shut down and unfunded is beneficial?
Sleeper cells? I'm not sure I understood the question.
In light of the Iran attack, sleeper cells, people who are let in under Biden, the millions of aliens let in, can you explain how the American people aren't protected when DHS is still shut down?
Well, I haven't seen evidence of sleeper cells, and certainly no evidence that sleeper cells are related to recent immigrants under...
Because to have a sleeper cell, they usually involves migrants coming into the country from radical places that want to do damage. You moron. I mean, honestly, you're not this stupid. The Democrat Party, they can be coy and they can act like they don't know what they're doing. I mentioned last hour I had a guy named Tariq call, and he said for Democrats, casualties are their ammunition. Casualties are their ammunition. They didn't say anything about the brave soldiers of our military until 9 of them died. Then all of a sudden it's like, our soldiers, we care about our soldiers. The casualties are their ammunition. That is your Democrat Party. When it came to Alex Priddy and Renee Good in Minneapolis, casualties are their ammunition. They love the fact that they died. Now they can say that ICE murdered them. See, do you understand what I'm saying here? That's your Democrat Party. And right now, they are really shooting themselves in the foot, because we had a terror attack in Austin, Texas, involving several people being murdered by a psychotic Iran-supporting Islamist. And then, of course, yesterday over the weekend in New York City, 2 radical Islamists who just visited the Middle East created these bombs, the same bombs that the shoe bomber used in his shoe and didn't go off. The same thing. It was going to be a mass casualty event because the radical Islamists, the sleeper cells in the United States of America, can't handle criticism of their pathetic interpretation of their violent religion. Here is Donald Trump talking about it yesterday.
Activated any sleeper cells inside the U.S. There's reports that they have pressed that trigger button to activate those cells, at least abroad.
Well, they've been trying for a long time. We've been very much on top of it. One of the things we have to do is get the Democrats to stop the Democrat shutdown, because, as you know, the apparatus that looks into that, Schumer and the Democrats have shut it down.
Yeah.
Which tells you they probably hate our country a lot. But the Democrats have to open that up. But we've got very, very good intelligence into that. We know a lot of different things that have happened that have been very bad. A lot of them came.
We also have a radical Islamist in the mayor's office in New York City who 65% of the foreign-born vote went toward people who did not come from here, and people who do not love America, appreciate America, or want to assimilate to America. That's why they voted for a communist Islamist.
During the Biden open border period, but we have them under, we've got them, we're watching every single one of them. Yeah, we know a lot about them.
Not all of them.
The biggest problem we have is the Democrat shutdown. We know a lot about them, but the shutdown doesn't allow us to do what we have to do.
Unbelievable. ICE is already funded for a couple of years. The Democrats, they want any sort of damage, any sort of mayhem, to happen on Donald Trump's watch. That's your Democrat Party. That is your Democrat Party. My God. Iran is activating sleeper cells outside the country. The encrypted communications believed to have come from inside Iran was sent operational trigger for sleeper assets, according to ABC News. Sleeper cells, agents or terrorists planted in countries who blend in with the normal civilians until they are needed to carry out an attack. Dick Blumenthal didn't know that. Message was transmitted across multiple countries shortly after Ayatollah al-Khamenei was obliterated in a joint Israeli-U.S. airstrike in Tehran February 28th. His son, Mojahid Khomeini, has been named the new supreme leader, by the way, because the message had international rebroadcast characteristics. American intelligence believe it's likely it could be for sleeper cells. There was no operational threat to a specific location. Just give them their orders, because they sneaked them in when Alejandro Mayorkas was charged of the southern border and Joe Biden was, pooping his pants and going on vacation 40% of the time. The transmissions could be intended to activate or provide instructions to preposition sleeper assets operating outside the originating country. Yeah, or their minions, or their brainwashed minions. Let's see. Senior Secret Service Supervisor Charles Marino said the nation is facing a convergence of threats from Iran-aligned lone wolves to potential sleeper cells. And we know that two of them threw a couple of bombs that did not go off. Amir Balat, 18-year-old, and 19-year-old Ibrahim Qayyumi drove to Manhattan from their upscale Pennsylvania homes with the intent to cause mayhem and kill, all in the name of the Islamic State. According to the federal complaint against them, this isn't religion that just stands when people talk about the blessed name of the Prophet, Balat allegedly said. Balat allegedly asked cops for a pen and paper and scribbled a disturbing manifesto proclaiming his extremist beliefs. All praise is due Allah, Lord of the worlds. I pledge my allegiance to the Islamic State. Die in your rage, you kuffar, which is an infidel. Here is the New York Police Commissioner Tisch talking about these two, and you could certainly consider them as sleeper cells.
A person in the crowd asked why he had done this. As alleged, both defendants have admitted that they acted on Saturday because of ISIS. As Qayyumi was being placed into an NYPD vehicle following his arrest, a person in the crowd asked why he had done this. As shown on NYPD body-worn camera footage referenced in the complaint, Qayyumi responded with ISIS. And at the precinct, after being advised of his Miranda rights and waiving those rights, Qayyumi said in recorded post-arrest statements that he had watched ISIS propaganda on his phone and that his actions that day were partly inspired by ISIS. The complaint also details statements made by Amir Balat after his arrest. En route to the NYPD precinct, Balat made spontaneous statements without being questioned by NYPD officers that were captured on body-worn camera footage. He said, "This isn't a religion that just stands when people talk about the blessed name of the Prophet. We take action, we take action."
Yeah, it's going to be time to investigate and denaturalize, particularly these idiots who went out in public over the weekend and promoted the death of our soldiers. That ain't free speech. Okay, that is find out who you are, denaturalize you if you're a citizen, and if you're not, deport you now. Deport you now. Here's some more from the New York Police Commissioner Tisch.
As well as, if I didn't do it, someone else will come and do it. And later, after waiving his rights, he requested paper and wrote a message declaring in part, "I pledge my allegiance to the Islamic State. Die in your rage, you kuffar." Now, die in your rage is a commonly known ISIS slogan, and kuffar is an Arabic term that refers to non-believers.
Yeah, and what were their actions inspired by the way, when they attempted to blow up people in New York?
He also told investigators that he had hoped to carry out an attack even bigger than the Boston Marathon bombing, which he noted resulted in only 3 deaths. These statements, as set forth in the complaint, make clear that this was not random violence. This was a planned attack motivated by extremist ideology and inspired by a violent foreign terrorist organization.
And promoted by the Democrat Party and the left in our country. The Red-Green Alliance. Socialists, communists, and Islamists coming together to take down our country. That's what this is about. This is the same thing that happened in Iran in 1979. By the way, and here is the commissioner talking about the explosive that these jackweeds used.
The complaint alleges not only why the defendants acted, but how. Preliminary testing has determined that one of the devices contained triacetone triperoxide, or TATP, also commonly referred to as Mother of Satan, a highly volatile explosive that has been used in multiple terrorist attacks over the last decade. As we have previously discussed, the NYPD identified a vehicle yesterday on East End Avenue that was linked to the defendants. Inside that vehicle, investigators recovered handwritten notes referencing TATP explosive and listing chemical ingredients for the type of explosive device used by the defendants on Saturday. Make no mistake, what happened this weekend was incredibly dangerous, and the ongoing investigation will be exhaustive.
Homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews, we're going to have to come together to end this. We're going to have to work with our government. We're going to have to be vigilant and realize we are in a very perilous time. And we have a Democrat Party who is looking at this and saying, I want us to be less safe, defund the Department of Homeland Security, make sure that our agents in charge of making us safe are exhausted, they do not have a paycheck, all of these things. This is your Democrat Party, and they are engaging in and adding to the peril that we're suffering. It's going to take us, patriotic Americans, to come together and save our country from these people. Going to take a break and come back. On the way, Zohran Bandami's wife and his intern calling for jihad in America. His intern. Big surprise? Not really. That's coming up. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Tehran's leaders are crumbling. They're being taken out. Their headquarters are crumbling as the U.S. shows its clout. And that should tell them time to surrender. Call it a day before our troops blow you away. Throw in the towel while you still can, or you'll be down to your last man. More new missiles they were making, with more nukes deployed. Down the sites they have been taken, and we are overjoyed. They ought to know it's time to surrender. White flag should wave. Soon will be nothing left to save. I always accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, latch on to the affirmative. With me there is no in between. State of the Union scored, approval rate how it has soared. Democrats cannot afford to take me for granted anymore. Inflation's low, employment's high. The Dow Jones, it is headed for the sky. Borders secure, illegals aren't jetting in. That's why I accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative. Latch on to the affirmative. With me there is no in between.
Yes, ooh, sweet thing.
You're out of touch. I'm out of touch.
This was a vile protest rooted in white supremacy entitled Stop the Islamic Takeover of New York City.
And?
I'm the first Muslim mayor of our city. Anti-Muslim bigotry...
Well, why are you standing behind the podium right now talking to the microphone? Was it because of the protest or the guys who tried to blow people up? Yeah, it was because of that.
Nothing new to me, nor is it anything new for the one...
Oh, you're a rectum. I mean a victim.
...million or so Muslim New Yorkers who know this city as...
We were more than kind and benevolent to the Islamic community after 9/11. Give me a friggin' break.
...our home. While I found this protest appalling, I will not waver in my belief that it should be allowed to happen.
Still hadn't said anything about the bombing by the radical Islamists.
Ours is a free society where the right to peaceful protest is sacred. It does not...
That's all you need to hear about that jackweed. I told you when he was running for office, I said, what is he first of all? What is he first and foremost? Is he a Democrat socialist promising free groceries and frozen rent forever? Or is he a radical Islamist? Well, I think our questions have been answered. Here is Rob Finnerty last night on NEWSMAX.
White supremacy. White supremacy, that's what the mayor of New York City wants the public to think is what happened in New York City over the weekend. The first words out of his mouth were white supremacy.
Yeah.
Nothing about Muslim terrorism.
Weird.
Nothing about radical Islam. In New York City, the same buildings that once stood there, the Twin Towers, were taken down 25 years ago by radical Islam. Think about
Well, are you sure the one white guys?
this. The two terror suspects, here are their names. Amir Balat and Ibrahim Nick.
Oh, definitely probably white guys from Indiana or something.
Immigrants from Turkey and Afghanistan.
What? I thought they were Catholic or Amish or something.
And call me crazy, but those aren't really the names. When I think white supremacists, I don't think Ibrahim Nick.
No,
to me, they sound like they're Muslim. Turns out, oh, wow, they are Muslim.
Oh, what?
But
really?
here's how the New York Times described what happened. Smoking jars of metal and fuses thrown at protesters near the mayor's home. Smoking jars of metal. What the hell is that? Smoking jars of metal and fuses. That's according to the New York Times today. Instead of calling them what they were, homemade bombs like the Boston Marathon bomber, thrown by Muslims shouting Allah Akbar, trying to kill Americans.
Yeah, didn't you get enough of this? Didn't you get enough of this like in the early 2000s? Didn't you get just enough of this bull crap, to be quite honest? And this is Zohran Mamdani, an intern in his office. Her name is Arzu Malik, and she's publicly calling for a holy war through jihad and martyrdom. Okay, an intern. Why isn't she fired? Why isn't she deported now?
And the true believer knows that none of this is in vain, that this is all
I guess she's from America.
Jihad, that this is all ibadah, and that this is all counted for by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so the conversation of doxing, the conversation of getting arrested and suspended, I think it's time for Muslims to start to say, all right, so what? Do what you want. I'm gonna do what I gotta do.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do, which means jihad.
It's about time to do that. And I know everybody has their own families and has an education.
Oh yeah, the families. Who cares if it's Allah and all that, and for the greater good of Allah and Islam
and everything. Just a question. We don't want to get doxxed, and we don't want to get suspended, and we don't want to get arrested. How gangsta are you? That's just my question. How much are you?
It's how gangster are you, which means, are you willing to die for the cause? Are you willing to martyr yourself?
Please do it. And I know everyone has their own risk levels, but at the end of the day, that's a question to ask ourselves. How
about you go first?
Committed am I to this? To what extent of my personal material gains am I willing to sacrifice for this bigger noble cause?
Wow, and he's also almost said Barack Obama. Isn't that interesting? But Zohran Mamdani is also married to a woman who liked like 70 posts about October the 7th. Liked it. Her big contract with Revlon Cosmetics was dropped because they said, you're not the kind of person we want to be associated with, because you're kind of a terrorist. You know, what I tell you, he's an Islamist first. This is Vicky Palladino. Last night on NEWSMAX, she is a New York City councilman. One of the idiots who was at this pro-Islam protest saying our borders should be open. He was standing there with one of these guys, came over the top of him and threw one of these bombs. This idiot is standing there, white liberal, standing there with a bullhorn, and this guy literally uses him to help throw the bomb that didn't go off.
What you've got happening here, this is terrorism.
Yeah.
This is domestic terrorism. People could have been killed, maimed, and worse. The lucky thing, these things did not go off.
Yeah.
So to the other side, well, they're calling them white supremacists. I, too, don't know this guy they're talking about. However, there was only 20 of them compared to about 120 to 150 of the others. Yeah. Now, you could see how shocked that guy was with the mic before the animal came over him to throw the bomb. Right. And the New Yorkers, we've had...
I'll bet the idiot will go ahead and sympathize with the bomber, though.
This guy's only been in office since January 1. We're on, we March 8th? That's 2 months and a week. Yeah. What are we doing here? He needs to step up to the plate. He needs to condemn Islam.
Right. Yeah, he's not going to. This is Scott Lebedo, an artist from New York, and the city councilwoman.
You know the amount of Jews that voted for him and his wife, knowing who they were?
The majority, I would say.
Shame on them. Yeah. Shame on them.
We did such an extensive dive into this guy while he was running for mayor. Everybody out there knew exactly the product they were buying, and they bought it in spite of it.
Yeah.
So now you see her there. You know, everybody says she's got her own right. My wife, I love her dearly. No, this country, this city cannot be, and this country cannot be governed by a sick ideology.
100%. And here we are, guys. Well, we're 25 years after 9/11, and we got this. Homeboys, hillbillies, Hebrews. It's time to be vigilant and let Donald Trump handle the butt kicking. Let's take a break and come back. Hey, guys, it's Carson. I just got a ghost bed. Yeah, no, pay attention here, because I've been sleeping on a foam mattress since I moved to the Washington, D.C. area, which is like sleeping on the sponge in your sink. Ghost Bed doesn't build mattresses like furniture. They build engineered sleep systems. Their beds are serious health equipment. Beds designed for relief and recovery, not looks, not fluff. Your body should be healing while you sleep, not fighting for comfort. I have been sleeping past 7 in the morning on my Ghost Bed. It's unbelievable. If you wake up stiff, you toss and turn, if you sleep hot, even reaching for a pain reliever before bed, hoping tonight will be different, that's not aging. It's your mattress talking. Another great thing I love about Ghost Bed, you get 101 nights to try it at home. If you don't like the difference, you can send it back risk-free. Ghost Bed is offering my audience their lowest prices of the season, plus an extra 10% off. Go to ghostbed.com/Carson. Use promo code Carson. That's ghostbed.com/Carson. Promo code Carson. You are going to love your new Ghost Bed. Hey guys, it's Carson for Quince. You know, a well-built wardrobe is about pieces that work together and hold up over time. That's what Quince does best. Premium materials, thoughtful design, everyday staples that feel easy to wear, even as the weather shifts. Quince has everyday essentials. I love the quality that lasts, by the way. Organic cotton sweaters, polos for every occasion, lighter jackets to keep you warm in the changing season. The list goes on. Now, Quince works directly with top factories and cuts out the middleman. So you're not paying for brand markup, just quality clothing. Everything is built to hold up to daily wear and still look good season after season. I have a great wool blazer that has the ladies turning their heads, even if they're not looking at me. And then, of course, a cashmere sweater, ridiculously soft, doesn't cost a fortune as well. Refresh your wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/newsmax for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada, too. That's quince.com, QUINCE.com/newsmax. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/newsmax. It is a Rob Carson Show on a Tuesday. A lot of stuff happening in the world. I got to tell you, a lot of things in the air, up in the air, a lot of uncertainty, I would say, to some degree. Good things, bad things, and otherwise. In other words, tumultuous times. But you know what? You got to go over some bumps to get to your destination. Philip Patrick just happens to be a precious metals specialist, and he works with my glorious sponsor, Birch Gold. How you doing there, Philip? What's going on today?
I'm doing very well, Rob. How are you doing?
I'm quite well. You know, I just got a very nice note, a little thank you card from my precious metal specialist at Birch. A couple of weeks ago, I transferred a 401k into gold. I said go all gold. I was offered a variety of metals. I said I love heavy metal. I want to do gold and Led Zeppelin. They said we don't do Led Zeppelin, but we can do gold.
That sounds about right, and I'm glad you bought when you did, because it's already moving in the right direction.
Brother,
so congratulations.
I'm going to tell you, we were at 5,600 almost in January. And then people sold. It went down to about 46. And here we are now, pushing 5,300. 5,300 just about 3 weeks later, and it's coming back, brother. What are you seeing? What are you thinking? What are you predicting, man?
Listen, take my predictions and put them to one side. We sell precious metals. I think the investment banks are the ones to watch, and they have been drastically upping their predictions. 6,300 seems to be the consensus between now and the end of the year. Obviously, that's $1,000 up almost from where we sit. So another more than 20% growth between now and the end of the year is what the big guys are saying. With everything that's happening, I think that could be on the conservative side. So a lot of movement in front of us, it looks like.
Philip, look at this. It was $2,600 a year and a half, a little bit more than a year and a half ago. And it went to $5,600. And then, it's kind of meandered a little bit. Like I said, I think that thing that happened in January was a sell-off. We had one day where gold went up, I think, $500 or $600 in a day, and people had not seen anything like that and said, I'm going to go ahead and liquefy some of this. And that's what I think happened. You wish you would have done that with, cryptocurrency a couple years ago, but gold is a little more liquid, a little more easy to trade.
Much more liquid and far less volatile. Listen, what you're describing is absolutely correct. We saw gold and silver move at unprecedented levels. Silver did 150% growth last year.
Yeah.
Even at the start of this year, it was up 50% in a few weeks. Gold was moving gangbusters as well. And what we saw was a pullback coming predominantly from the paper markets. People were being forced to make margin calls, add more cash just to hold their position. And as a trader, if you're up 100% in a 12-month period, that leads to a sell-off. But for us in the physical markets, it was absolutely welcome. When something's going up and up and up, you get concerns that there is a bubble. This step back was very much welcome. I think it created a new floor, and as you rightly point out, we're moving very nicely since.
Now, we saw gold prices spike earlier this week, and then Donald Trump issued a statement about the Straits of Hormuz, said we're going to take care of ships going through there. So it dropped 40% overnight. Gold or oil is much easier to make the markets move fairly quickly. Gold is different because gold is rarer, certainly. We use a lot more oil, certainly. Completely different commodity. You have a limited production with gold, so the price of gold is not gonna fluctuate so much. And right now, considering world events, I don't see gold coming down anytime soon.
No, in fact, I see it doing the opposite. Like, you talk about what drives gold. It's inflation, it's devaluation, it's debt, and it's global instability. And things that we're seeing now, conflict in the Middle East, oil prices, some of the most volatile ever in history. Gold went up to oil went up to $120 a barrel, then came down to $80. It was one of the biggest swings in history. We got to remember, it was still only $60 a barrel a couple of weeks ago. Oil is a very unique commodity in that it is broadly the biggest driver of inflation. It's not just energy prices, it's transportation, it's manufacturing, and ultimately drives the price of everyday goods up. The reason we're seeing such big volatility in oil is because the markets are trying to understand the duration, right? When the markets think this is going to be a long, drawn-out, protracted war in the Middle East, oil prices shot up. That's why President Trump is doing his best to quell fears and saying it's going to be over soon. So the longer this draws out, the worse it is for the economy and the better it is ultimately for gold prices. But look at what's driving gold. Look at the fundamentals. They're strengthening every single day.
For sure. There's a lot of stuff also happening. Venezuela, for instance, has massive gold reserves. They clearly have been unable to take advantage of their petroleum industry. It makes you kind of wonder if they can bring up their gold production, which to me will signal central banks saying, okay, we got more, because they want it, man. The central banks want gold. All the instability in the world, all of the dollar slipping and whatnot. Now it looks like China's currency taking a nosedive. Gold is what they want, right?
Oh, absolutely. The last fiscal quarter was the single biggest quarter for central bank gold buying ever in history. It was over 5,000 tons, and they are not letting up. And what's so interesting is the buyers of gold and silver today are predominantly central banks, and they are price insensitive. Central banks will continue to buy gold because they need an asset, half of the world, that cannot be seized or printed into oblivion, and they're going to continue to buy silver regardless of price because they want to be able to build ballistic missiles and win the AI race. So that's the most encouraging thing about the market right now. It's not being driven by Reddit day traders, it's central banks, which is the smartest money in the room.
And when you look at the growth of AI technology, all of the microprocessors and whatnot that are going to be necessary, silver, I mean, they're having to dig new holes, man, because silver is becoming more scarce and more desired. I'm planning on buying more silver, adding to that to my portfolio, because gold is a precious metal, but silver is a precious metal that has industrial need behind it as well.
I was going to tell you, when you said you bought all gold on your purchase, obviously it was a good purchase, but I think there was some room for silver.
Oh, there is coming.
Absolutely correct.
It is.
They do. Yeah, make sure you and I speak on that one, Rob. I'll guide you through step by step. But two different things, both very valuable for different reasons. Gold to underpin, to hedge longer-term dollar decline, and silver for that more aggressive growth play. But I think prices, even with all the upside, still relatively low. So we're very excited at Birch. We think this is going to be a very strong year for our clients. So for those that are sort of sitting on the sidelines, I think this is a very good time on the back of a dip to get in and get position.
1,000%. Philip Patrick, I appreciate you so much. Thank you to Birch Gold. Text my name, Rob, to 989898. I know you guys have been very busy. Let's make you a little more busy. How's that sound?
We're ready for it,
All
Rob.
right.
We're ready to look after your listeners. So,
all right. Thank you, Philip.
Like you said, Rob to 989898. Thank you, Rob.
All the best to Birch Gold. Yeah, Rob to 989898, and that's my next thing. Because silver is about $80 an ounce or so, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting aside money per paycheck to buy some silver. Gold was a big deal. I took my 401k, made that into gold. Because that was a substantial. I mean, it's not gigantic. Dear God, I'm not their biggest client, for God's sake. But one of their smallest, to be quite honest. But I'm going to actually be setting aside money every month to buy silver. So there you go. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Not to scare you, but AI has completely changed the cybersecurity game. Scams are smarter, malware is faster, and phishing emails look shockingly real. But the good news, you don't need to be a tech expert to stay ahead of it. With WebRoot Total Protection, you are protected. Plus, if you're sick and tired of dealing with a slow computer, WebRoot is cloud-based antivirus and anti-phishing and anti-malware engineered to stay out of your way. And because the intelligence lives in the cloud, WebRoot keeps your computer running light, fast, and smooth, all while defending you in real time against malware, phishing, ransomware, and other threats. Whether you're working, browsing, or streaming, WebRoot is the antivirus protection that works for you, not against you. Make the switch and feel the difference of truly fast, modern antivirus protection. For a limited time, you can save 60% on WebRoot when you go to webroot.com/Carson. That's 60% off today, but only when you go to webroot.com/Carson. That's webroot.com/Carson.
I slept in a lot of different rooms, different beds, but none of them really felt like mine. I spent 14
No, you see her there? You know, everybody says she's got her own right. My wife, I love her dearly. No, this country, this city cannot be, and this country cannot be governed by a sick. No, this country.
Waiting to be adopted.
Wife, I love her dearly. No, this
adoption is working to help find them a forever family and a permanent home of their own.
Now I have my own room with walls that tell my story. I love hanging out in here. I play dress up with my sisters and I sing and make videos. But the best part, knowing I'll always have a place to go and a family that loves and supports me.
If you have room in your home or your heart, see how you can help at DaveThomasFoundation.org.
Do you own a business? Do you want to attract new customers to your business? WCBM can help take your business to new heights with a comprehensive advertising campaign with our station. At WCBM, we can design an effective advertising campaign utilizing radio ads, digital ads, and social media. Your account executive at
have been killed in what they say was an Israeli airstrike.
Where hundreds and stranding an untold number under the concrete. By far,
there was no evidence, but they went with it anyway.
the deadliest Israeli airstrike ever. Hundreds taking shelter at a Gaza City hospital were killed in
And this changed the narrative from the slaughter of Israelis.
an Israeli airstrike today. Israel says it was targeting Hamas hideouts.
They tried to do it with the girls' school in Iran.
Palestinian officials saying at least 500 people killed in what they claim was an Israeli airstrike.
Aftermath of an alleged airstrike on a Gaza hospital that killed more than 500 people.
An Israeli missile struck the hospital. Absolutely.
Yeah, I cry bull crap, by the way. Bull crap. It's amazing what happens when you pay attention. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. All right, kids. All right, kids, how are you? Hello, Will Clark. I did. I restarted it. Ken said he had it fixed last week. He figured it out. So I don't know why he's telling me to restart and everything. He figured it out last week. America Marcy, Habalone, what up? Willard Clark, how you doing? Good to see ya. You know what? I'm not able to load Facebook today in my location, and it sucks. So I can't see my Facebook viewing. Are you watching on Facebook? I don't even know. I can't tell. Rumbly Roos, what up? Janine Page. Round a Pony, everybody. Tom K. Jaggery, whatever. How you doing? Welcome. Lot of stuff to talk about today. Hi, well, Bill. A lot of stuff to talk about today. How you guys over there on Twitter? We got good numbers on Twitter, as always. As always, we do. Oh, yeah, I got to talk about bad polling. For the Democrat Party, it's not very good right now. They're sucking wind. I'll have details on that coming up. I need to play some comedy. That's what I'm going to do right now. That's what I'm doing right now. Got something new from Jim Gossett. I just did. God damn it.
Our borders are as tight as possible when you're coming in and out of an airport.
All right, here we go, guys. I gotta go.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show, hour number 3. We're going to talk to Doug Burns at the bottom of the hour. Doug Burns, former federal prosecutor, one of the favorite guests of the show for all things legal. All things legal at the bottom of the hour. Maybe talk to him about what's going on in Maricopa County and down in Georgia, Fulton County, with regard to the FBI asking for ballots and records on the 2020 election, because you see there was a whole bunch of fraud. Then also in 2022 in Maricopa County, 65% of the voting machines stopped working, and a lot of Republicans just happened to live there and were turned away from the polls, went to another location. By the time they got back, they couldn't vote. It was kind of crazy how that happens. Kind of crazy. It's like we need the SAVE Act or something. Yeah, we do. We'll get to that in a second. I just got this little graphic I just reposted on my social media. It is from Visual Capitalist. The net migration loss and gain per 10,000 inhabitants states around the country. Okay? So my home state of Iowa lost 3.3% per 10,000 inhabitants. North Dakota only 0.1%. South Dakota gained 9.3%. They don't have an income tax up there. It's beautiful in the summer. The winters are up, Idaho up 63%. People moving to Idaho. Montana, 23% up. Wyoming, 23%. California, down 25%. Texas, up 23%. Florida, up 7%. Georgia, up 13%. Alabama, up 36%. Arkansas, 33%. Oklahoma, up 26%. It's kind of crazy. Let's look over here on the East Coast. Maryland down 27%. You know why? Because Democrats have made Maryland suck. Virginia's down 2%. Isn't that crazy? Because we have a crazy cat lady now in charge of the government, down 11%. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse because they're insane. This idiot in the state house in Virginia. His name is Scott Suravel, and they're introducing all sorts of gun control language and trying to take away your right to keep and bear arms. And this moron decided he'd talk about guns. Now, for those of you who even have a rudimentary, and I'm not a gun expert by any means, I just grew up with them and all of that stuff, and so I know a few things. But I'm not a gun expert. But you gun experts, you better put down anything you're drinking right now, because you're going to do a spit take when you listen to how stupid and ignorant this jackass is.
If you have an assault rifle, you can keep it. If you have an assault pistol, if you want to have one of these pistols with a silencer on it and a pistol grip in the front, a really big pistol. If you want to have one with a telescope on it or lasers.
Sure, a telescope and lasers with the pistol grip on the pistol that you have.
Whatever else you want, that's okay. You just can't buy a new one.
Well, that's too bad, because I wanted a telescope and a laser on my pistol-gripped pistol.
Can't sell it to anybody. If you want to have a magazine with more than 15 bullets, you can keep that too. You just can't buy a new one.
Wow, what a complete and utter freaking moron.